Hi traders, welcome to this live webinar with FXDD. My name is Chris, and all this webinar is about is looking at the live markets, looking at chart analysis, wave patterns, technical analysis, chart patterns. All of that is going to be discussed here in this live webinar, taking a look, of course, at the majors, your dollar, pound, dollar, yen, and other crosses, currency crosses, but also want to take a look at DAX, gold, and Dow Jones index and see what's going on with the stock market and the commodities in general. So all of that is coming up in this live session on this 11th of July. It's about 1 p.m. GMT time at the moment. And before we take a look at the markets, please be aware of this disclaimer explaining the fact that trading for exchange and global financial markets is considered high risk, may not be suitable for everyone. Please seek the advice of an independent financial advisor for more information on that. All right, thank you for your attention. So let's close this and let me open the charts. All right, there we go. And let me focus on this. So I hope you're doing well. I hope you are having a good week. We had a lot of interesting in the past couple of days. First of all, of course, there was the non-farm payroll, basically NFP last week, Friday. That was a little bit more bullish, better than expected. That did create some dollar bullishness. However, FOMC yesterday and also the Fed Chair Powell had the opposite effect and dampened the dollar strength. And we saw that the euro dollar then went up. So a little bit of a back and forth based on the fundamentals and the news in the past couple of days. Let's take a look at the technicals and what they were saying from my point of view, at least. So, generally speaking, euro dollar, when looking at the monthly chart here, is at this moment slowing down, and it cannot break below the 21 EMA, although they are aligned to the downside. So, from my point of view, this is a choppy corrective zone, and it is looking a little bit like a falling wedge. And last month, price did break above that falling wedge with a decent bullish candle close near the high. So from my perspective, this could be the break, and there could be some bullish extension, some upside potential here based on the break of that falling wedge and last month's bullish candlestick pattern. So for the moment, I think that the bulls are in control. Weekly candle, however, certainly was bearish last week. That said, couple of candles already, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles have not broken below the double bottom here at 111. So I think from that perspective, this bear swing seems to be finished. And I think that prices are going to make a correction like that, specifically and especially if this week's weekly candle this week is bullish, then I think that the odds are even higher and even greater from that perspective. So very curious about this week. And this week so far is looking bullish at the moment, at least the open candle. Yesterday, after FOMC, excuse me, was certainly bullish. Pretty good candle there. Decent candle size, decent close near the high. And from my perspective, this bounce could indicate the continuation of this uptrend channel. And if price manages to break above 113, I think there could be a bullish breakout up within this downtrend, within this uptrend, excuse me, up to 114.50, 115. Those will be the targets for the moment to the upside. So I think that this is looking like a correction has been finished and that price is bouncing back for an uptrend continuation for the moment from a technical point of view. And on a 4-hour chart, I can see pretty good momentum as well. So I think it's a fair chance if looking at the hourly chart that this is a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That completed the wave 1 and looking maybe for a wave 2, an ABC. So if I put a fib from this bottom to this top, there we go. I think that if price does make a retracement here, that typically 61.8 Fibonacci retracement level at 120.28, 112.28, 112.25 could be a good zone, 112.50 maybe too. All of those levels could be a bouncing spot for upside and a continuation higher within this 1-2. Now, that said, just because there's bearish engulfing twins on the hourly chart doesn't mean that this bullish momentum is finished right away. There could still be one more higher high. Maybe price could tag 113, 113.25. So what I'm waiting for is either price to make one more higher high and then make an ABC, or price to make an ABC now. And in both cases, I'm looking for price to bounce at these fibs for a continuation. All right. So the only difference is, will price maybe extend a little bit more, make one more higher high, or is that it? And is price going to make an ABC down? In any case, I think most interesting is, in my view, a bullish bounce at these fibs. All right. Right here. That's the most interesting. And the reason is because I see momentum here. And I see failure of price to break below 111.80. And because of that failure, and I see a bounce at the bottom of the uptrend channel, and the failure to break below key level at 111.80 means that this is still, it's possible that this was an ABC. Now, if price does make a retracement like this and bounces, it could be that price has struggles in this zone. So we got to keep in mind that the alternative could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is an ABC up, and price might struggle here. So my defense to that is that if price gets into here, I will probably move. You know, if I am in that trade, I will probably move it to break even. Okay, sorry for that. Not sure. The microphone should be working. I don't see any reason why it shouldn't work, actually. So it's a bit odd. Let me stop the screen sharing for the moment. Hang on. I'll just check quickly the settings, but I already did that beforehand. Yeah, the settings are fine. Felislav says it's fine. I don't know, maybe on my side, to be honest, because I checked the settings. So yeah, I'm indeed limited to that. I'll try to speak maybe a little bit slower. But technically speaking, everything is working well at this moment, is from my side at least. So I'll maybe go a little bit slower. That could help. Okay, great. So I think that if price does make a retracement and bounce in this zone, I want to be careful. I might want to protect my trade, because if it is a bullish ABC, then it could not hit 114.50 or 115, but actually bounce here for downside if this is a 5 wave. So the great thing about this is that if it's an ABC, or whether this is a 1, 2, 3, like I think, it doesn't really matter in the sense that in both cases I'm expecting down and up. The question is, how far will it go up? It should go up to 115 if my analysis is correct. But if it's an ABC, then it will stop around 113.50 probably. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay. Also, I'm keeping in mind is if there's a strong bearish candle like this, because in that case, that would engulf all this bullish action, and it would break through all this support, and then fair chance the price will go down to 111, and in fact break below that and continue probably to 110. So if I see strong daily price action, that would certainly change perspectives, and the entire dynamic is different in that case, of course. And then in that case, it looks like a break pullback continuation for downside. So that's very important observation. Keeping an eye on that as well. I don't think it's likely at this moment, but certainly, if the market shows that, it shows that, and that's useful information. That is very valuable communication from the market. If it does such a strong bearish candle, if it were to happen today or tomorrow, then obviously I'm not going to ignore that. I'm going to use that to my advantage, and I'll be trying to look for a pullback continuation. But that said, I don't expect that. And if it happens, it would invalidate my analysis to a certain degree, because when price made this downside, I was neutral. I was actually considering 111.80 and the 112.80-ish here as a neutral zone. But with this move up, I have returned back to the bullish perspective. Okay, so a lot of words on the euro dollar, but maybe I would actually like to focus on the New Zealand dollar for the moment. And the reason is I'm seeing quite good New Zealand strength across the board, and I think that there's a fair chance that might continue. throughout this week and maybe next week. There was some New Zealand strength a while ago, and a weekend retraced. And I think there is a continuation of that strength at the moment. The same thing happened with the CAD a week ago with strengthening, and is now retracing Swiss franc too. Actually, although the Swiss franc is not following through that much with that strength, actually, it's faltering a little bit. And my current pound Swissy trade is not going anywhere at this moment. It's going sideways. But I still think that the Swiss franc might strengthen. I'm still holding on to that. But I think the moment the New Zealand specifically could be interesting. I see multiple potential trades, such as the New Zealand dollar, which is making a potential breakout here and is on my watch list. The Euro New Zealand as well. And I'm actually considering trading one of these two. I just not sure which one. It depends, because both are looking okay to me. I just don't want to trade too many New Zealands and be too vulnerable and too exposed to the New Zealand side. I am already in a pound New Zealand, as Ali mentioned. So that's one of the reasons why I don't want to overtrade in New Zealand. I'm considering to add one more. I just don't know which, because all the New Zealands, from my point of view, are breaking. So I just need to consider which one. And I see New Zealand, I see Euro New Zealand. I see also New Zealand yen, actually. And I see even New Zealand Swiss franc, I saw, if I remember correctly. Not sure now anymore, but let me find it quickly. Yes, also you see New Zealand Swiss francs. You see, that's sometimes a little bit of a problem in the sense like which one to choose. That's not an easy question. This is also a breakout. All of these New Zealands are breaking out. New Zealand yen clearly too, pushing through 21 May. All these moving averages aligned. Nice New Zealand trend here. Question is which one is the best? And I still need to look at my fib sequence levels and decide about that. And I'm not sure. I was in the process of doing that when this webinar started. So I need to analyze that a little bit better. What I typically use is Fibonacci sequence levels to see what kind of space there is. On the New Zealand yen, for instance, I see, let's see, about a 64 pip space. And I see about a risk of 45. Okay, so it's about a 1.5 R2R. We can do it live. Take a look at this live. Why not? If you don't mind. Maybe a bit boring to talk about numbers like that, but New Zealand Swiss franc, I see smaller space probably. Yeah, but I'm already pound Swissy short, and New Zealand Swissy long would basically mean again a pound New Zealand, which I already have. So that would probably not make much sense. So I'll probably skip from this perspective the New Zealand Swissy, me personally. What else? Yes, you're New Zealand. Also, these are kind of ways you can make argumentations about either side. Let's see, pound New Zealand looks like a 94 pip stop loss, and I'll be aiming for 90. That looks like a 1-to-1 trade. It's not that much. Maybe New Zealand yen looking a little bit better at this moment. And the New Zealand dollar. And I was looking at that, and New Zealand dollar is a slow mover, and the target of that for the moment is about 58, and the risk I would do a stop loss about 61. Just a tad more than 1-to-1. Yes, so maybe New Zealand yen. Let me check the dollar yen. New Zealand yen has the advantage that the price is making a good bull flag and bouncing off good daily candle above yesterday's high, bouncing off that 21 EMA. It is counter trend, but consider the fact that it's above the 20 EMA and has space to 144 EMA, I think that would be okay. And if I compare that to the Euro New Zealand, let me find that. That's a little bit still counter trend, on the daily at least. And if I compare it to the New Zealand dollar, that to the market structure looks bullish. Good daily candle at the 21 EMA. Good momentum. Looks like an ABC pattern to the downside at this moment. But yeah, I think the New Zealand yen looks interesting. Let me take a look at the dollar yen at the meantime. The thing is that the dollar yen, I'm not sure how much space it has to the upside before it might hit a head and shoulders level here, for instance, and then move lower again. So yeah, a little bit doubtful whether the New Zealand yen or New Zealand dollar at this point. Let me look at, from my perspective, at least from my trading perspective, let me take a look at what pairs are relatively strong and weak at this moment. I do see some yen weakness at this moment, looking across the board at all, at basically euro, dollar, yen, pound, Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, CAD, Swiss franc. New Zealand is doing pretty well across the board. Pound is emerging a little bit stronger at this point as well, but still very weak on higher time frames like an hourly, 4-hour, daily. That's a tough one. I I honestly am very torn between New Zealand yen, I guess, and New Zealand dollar at this moment. Let me see what the audience is thinking at this moment. All right, traders, let's see. Ali is asking about the euro pound. We can do that. Okay, euro pound. Yeah, we can look at that. I think that I need to still think about it a few minutes, and then I'll probably make a choice. I need to analyze that. I don't want to hold you up too long either, and this will be recorded, and I don't want the traders to fall asleep as I'm pondering whether I want the New Zealand yen or the New Zealand dollar. But let's take a look at other pairs. I think that pound yen indeed didn't move too far to the downside. Good thing that I skipped this bear flag, I do believe. But yeah, you can see very choppy downside. Did move down, but now getting quite a good upside. And one of the reasons why I skipped it was because of the 135 round level. Didn't seem like a lot of space left, and it did. It bounced at 135.06. So that's one of the benefits of using key levels, just logical kind of round psychological levels. By doing that, avoided trading right into 135. Euro yen going sideways, not a big fan of that. Euro pound, I don't know about that. It is a good question. I'm not a big fan of trading euro pound generally. It is true that this upside is very corrective and choppy, and it does look like a rising wedge, which is a reversal pattern. And the 4-hour candle is pretty bearish indeed, and pretty strong in the close near the low. And so from that perspective, true, it might indicate some reversal, but I'm not that good in reversals, to be honest. And I don't know. It's always a little bit tricky when that break might finally happen. Difficult to say. I do think that it might be okay, but typically I like the second break better. So if it does pull back and then continue lower like that, generally I think works out a little bit better. But sometimes you never know. Sometimes it breaks quicker, and this could be wave A. Difficult to say at this moment. I don't know. TP at 87.20. Let's see. Deep, but possible. It's about halfway. Entry at 90.40 is above it. Yeah, possible. I think that it could still continue with this rising wedge. But this might be already wave A, B, and C for a move down to the 143 EMA. I could see a bounce occur maybe around 90 again, 89.90 maybe, for a move down to 89.30. something like that. I could imagine. Dollar Swiss C. I would be interested to see if price makes a bear flag here. Then I would like the continuation, but at the moment I'm not interested in the dollar Swiss franc. But if it does make a bear flag, I think that the Swiss franc could strengthen again. I hope, at least. That's that's something I'm would like to see. A good trend, a good continuation of the trend. CAD was strong too. Seems to be continuing as well. But yeah, not a good spot at this moment. I think it needs to. I don't know. It probably needs to retrace a little bit, one more, and then the next break I might consider. New Zealand dollar, I already indicated in my opinion that I think there is a potential bullish breakout. Australian dollar, not. Aussie is not as strong as New Zealand at the moment. Odd New Zealand is moving lower. Euro odd and Euro New Zealand are moving to the downside at this moment and breaking the corrections. Not pound odd yet, nor, well, pound New Zealand is going sideways below the 20 EMA. Pound odd, not yet. But all these, Euro odd, Euro New Zealand, pound odd, all of these are basically making some kind of flag corrections and I think ready for more downside. Euro odd did make an aggressive move up, but ultimately it hit the 50 fib when fibbing from here to here. So it could also be still bearish, in fact. All right. CAD yen also looking, oh, sorry about that. CAD yen also looking okay for a continuation. Flag looking for a breakout here. Pound CAD. CADs are, I think, for the moment going sideways at this point. Odd yen, Australian dollar is quite weak. Wouldn't want to trade that. New Zealand yen looks better. So New Zealand and CAD yen, I think, have potential. Bitcoin is interesting in the sense that it peaked very nicely to almost to 14,000. Now, 1, 2, let's count how many days we didn't get a high yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So anything between day 6 and 13, typically, I don't see a breakout happening that often. This is day 10. So from that perspective, that time pattern already indicated that this upside is probably not going to break the high and likely to continue with a correction. But if it does so for another few days, it might just make an ABC, and that could still indicate an uptrend continuation after that. Certainly the volatility is picking up. And I think that if it does make a correction like that, then bounce, yes, it has space to the previous tops, in my view. So not yet, but could continue next week, I think. S&P, let me do that all over again. Seems to be going sideways, but right at resistance. I think it's a tough spot. Not sure about it. Ethereum as well. By the way, sorry, I'm mixing them up a little bit. Apologies for that. Ethereum, higher high. Divergence between these tops, though, getting a retracement. I think it moved down to the 144 EMA likely at this moment, personally. S&P, same thing. We discussed that already, actually. Sorry. Let's see. Gold is interesting in my view, because if this is an A, B, C, D, E, this could be the bouncing spot for an uptrend continuation. If this is an ABC, then this could be wave 1, 2, up for 3. So I think that this pullback and continuation on my watch list for the moment. All right. Ripple, not going anywhere at the moment, is it? Look at that. Very interesting. Topped out here at a half, 0.5. S&P 500, same story as, no, I'm again looking at the same one. Excuse me, I apologize. I wanted to take a look at DAX. Okay, I'm moving these pairs, so I'm getting confused. Sorry for that. DAX, I think looking pretty impulsive, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is some type of wave A at the moment. There is divergence between these tops, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's some correction here down to 144 EMA and the bottom of this uptrend channel for the moment. It is an uptrend, so you never know. There could be a bounce here and an uptrend continuation. It's possible too. I mean, this downside is a little bit stronger. So there's a little bit of a divergence here between DAX and S&P 500. That's interesting. Let's see if that plays out indeed or not. All right, so question about the pound dollar. Yes, that's true, Ali. Nennet seems to be interested in this pound to the downside, and you too. And you were first, actually. So great job. And it is at a weekly pivot point. It is at a previous resistance zone. Very strong resistance zone. And if we add fibs, there's also fib confluence, 3850 fib zone, basically. Strong resistance spot. So yeah, from that perspective, interesting spot for downside. I don't think it will go too far. It might struggle already around 125, 124.75. But still, not bad. Some pips there to be potentially made. There we go. And could drop indeed. Around that 125 level. 124.94, also possible. I mean, 125 is a psychological level. It could go down to 124, but this is quite an aggressive wave 4. So if it could go, either it can go and make a triangle like this, I would expect, and then go to 124, or it could make even an ABC and hit the 50 and then bounce lower. There is a slight possibility that this ABC is it, and price is indeed going to go for downtrend down to 124 right away, but that doesn't seem the leading scenario at the moment. For me, either ABC up like this, or ABCDE, or 1, 2, 3 and a total trend change, even. Also possible. Yes, weekly pivot points, I agree. Good spots, good resistance and support levels, absolutely. Fully agree on that. So that's a quick overview. So personally, I am still torn between my New Zealand yen and New Zealand dollar. And if basically the pound dollar might be going lower, it might be better to think about New Zealand yen. I think Euro New Zealand was moving already a little bit, but the Euro New Zealand, I don't know. It has a good space. It's 1-to-1. It's not bad. Let me focus here on the New Zealand yen. Just a minute or two. Just to see how that's doing. Yeah, it's about at the moment 26.68. Maybe from a reward to risk perspective, New Zealand yen could look interesting. I might consider that. Well, anyhow, I'll still think about it. Let me see if there are any pairs that or currencies that need to be discussed. I think I mentioned everything. Let me check if there are any questions. Dollar weakness, yeah, that's true. I also see Euro dollar up. I also see. Let's see, Euro dollar specifically. Actually, pound dollar, I'm not so sure yet. Dollar yen is a little bit hanging in the balance. It's a tough one. New Zealand dollar could do pretty well as well. Its reward to risk ratio is not as great. The moving averages are a little bit less interesting. Maybe I'll split it on both. I don't know. I have to think about this. I will reanalyze all of them, both of them, I should say. And I think the only one that I'm not thinking about is Euro New Zealand, although that might work the best. But in any case, always good to think about which currencies are relatively strong and weak, etc., and then think about the choice in that way. In any case, I don't see any follow-up questions. That's, from my point of view, it for the moment. Just to summarize, basically, dollar strength last week, followed by dollar weakness this week, and I think at the moment, indeed, dollar weakness likely to follow through. I do think that The New Zealand dollar is looking relatively strong at this moment. I think that CAD and Swiss franc might return to strength. I'm keeping an eye on that, if that indeed is taking place or not. Not yet. New Zealand dollar is showing some strength at the moment. Week one's dollar and yen, I think, at this point. Pound in the long term, 1 hour, 4 hour, not at the short term charts at this moment, though. So that's a quick summary. Bitcoin, I think it goes sideways. I don't see the altcoins going too much, like Ethereum, Ripple. They seem to be retracing. I don't personally expect much upside for the moment, but maybe I'm underestimating that. Gold does look good for me from a bullish breakout point of view, though. So that, I think, is the quick summary. Euro odd, Euro New Zealand, pound odd, pound New Zealand looking good for continuation lower, I do believe. And so those are on my watch list. That's about it, I think. In any case, thanks for joining. And we'll be back next week as well, same time, same place, with me and Nennet as well. I do believe next week as well. And Wednesday, the last Wednesday of the week, I think. No, I think it's the 24th. There's an educational webinar with myself. And next week, Thursday, one more trading webinar. In any case, if you're looking to join those, to look, let's see, hang on, right here. There we go. Feel free to look right here at these links, live trading webinars at the top, live educational webinars at the bottom, and of course the FXDD YouTube channel where we can see all of the videos and webinars uploaded to that YouTube channel. All right. Wish you all, once again, good trading. Talk to you soon and have a great day. Cheers.